Everyday Superpower, where we talk body language, relationships, human dynamics, and everything in between. As always, there's two links down in the description. One will take you through to the catalogue of body language, a dictionary I've composed of my own material, showcasing the top to the bottom of the human psyche, manifest through their nonverbal behaviour. Second to that is the Patreon, where you'll join me in observing real life dates. I'll break down the body language of attraction and repulsion in real time. You'll see that in the world around you. You'll never forget it. Now, let's talk. I've got an interesting one for you. It wasn't so long back where I took my first steps into the psychology and the principles of Carl Jung, because I've always been a very big fan of Sigmund Freud, but I never took the route into Carl Jung's works. And one thing in particular I found very fascinating, because I did like the principle of balance and yin and yang and how it manifests and how much truth I see in that. I liked Carl Jung's principle of opposites in particular, and how he found a counteracting balance with everything. And it was special to me. So I made a note to talk about this. We're talking about attraction, by the way, and we're talking about people. And I'm going to say this. Inside a dominant man is a submissive one, and the vice versa, right? So this one can verge onto the controversial, potentially, but you see this manifest wholeheartedly, most definitely. You see this. So what I'm telling you is that we've done videos on bullies and we've done videos on overcompensation and so forth. We're not going to strictly align this with overcompensation, because it can be overcompensation, but it can also just be the natural way things are. A man could be in natural dominant position, natural powerful position. They have worked hard for what they got and they're well deserving of the position they are in. They own companies. They are authoritarian figures. They have a lot of control in their day to day. And with light, there needs to be dark. With dark, there needs to be light, in order for there to be meaning of such. With happiness, there needs to be sadness, in order for happiness to be happiness. People say, well, I wish for a life where it's world peace. Well, then it's not peace, is it? It's just mundanity. Because without the harsh reality of war and conflict and unfortunate times, how can we perceive peace as peace? There needs to be a counterbalance in order to accentuate that which is. Without femininity, how can there be masculinity? And the vice versa. So what I'm trying to say is that with dominant men, whether they are performative and you can see through their mask, yes? Because those who are vocal and overt about being masculine and I am a man and oh, you have to hear me being a man, right? That persona, that's a defensive mechanism to conceal the reality of the feminine and the submissive that exists within that human. Such as the quiet, sheepish man who doesn't necessarily have a backbone and daren't implement himself wherever, to whichever degree. There is a counterbalance that exists within that man that wants power. And we see it when, hey, orchestrated or not, you tell me. I don't know about these things. But we hear stories, at least I hear stories, about young men in America who haven't been given the love and care and attention they feel they deserved. And they've been walked all over and have been given and dealt bad cards in life, or at least that's how they perceive it. And they get themselves into echo chambers of other young men who feel like they've been placed in the same position. And what do? They create this outburst of bold, aggressive action. They take a gun and they go out there. Somebody who was once so quiet and feeble and weak has suddenly become the most dangerous man. It's a principle of opposites. You need to pay attention to these things. You need to pay attention. I honestly would say, well, no, this manifests within both the woman and the man. But I'm more prone to identifying it within the men because by the man I live or die, I need to make sure I know who that person is. So I'm a little more attuned to that. But you see the woman who's got a big mouth, just as the man who has a big mouth. But it's a defense mechanism. There's a little girl inside of her who feels like she needs to pipe up and she needs to be loud as a means of distracting you from what lies within. Look at the men online who speak on... I'm getting a ring here. I'll get that in a moment. Look at the men online who influence younger men in the ways of masculinity and what it means to be a man. And if you have any people in mind who sort of seem a little bit overt in their approach to things, have a wonder if there's a part of them that they're not showing. And if they haven't shown anyone, a part of them that yearns to come out. Imagine the excitement of a man who puts this mask on every single day, has to identify himself and correlate himself with this epitome of masculinity. Imagine that release, that gratification, that experience of giving himself in a submissive manner to his partner. And that's where we're going with this. When I say partner, I mean his girlfriend, his wife, whatever. Let's say I know a person who knows a person who works with sex workers, right? High-end escorts and the like. And they work with judges, wealthy individuals who own successful businesses. What do? They regress into baby-like states. They wear nappies and play with trains in a sexual manner as the woman feeds them child's biscuits. The doctors who have to spend their entire working day being as cleanly as physically possible get into defecation, urine, in a sexually fulfilling manner, should I say. This is the human nature and the psychology, if not biology, of the It's not biology. It's the psychology, if not spirituality, of the principle of opposites manifest in real time. That woman you're with who is quiet, bookworm, keeps herself to herself, a little bit skittish. Imagine if you allowed her the position to be dominant, to have her say, to create and harness the energy that counterbalances the submissive, peaceful, quiet nature of her in complete intimacy, outside of the world's judgment. You give her the half that she hides away, that she feels she can't put forward. Of course, the two need to have mutual understanding and come together, you know, in harmony. If it's not right for you, it's not right for you. But imagine the connection you would create given they feel seen and understood. That dominant man you see on the internet who's screaming and shouting and beating on his chest and talking about, you know, whatever cliche, materialistic, masculine trope he's talking about, there's a counterbalance to that. The pendulum doesn't just swing and hang. There needs to be release. That's some game. Have a think about that one. Click like and subscribe. I'm signing out. Peace.